So this means that I am just like everybody else in the NBA the other players in the NBA who get to choose their new teammates and try to dethrone the Hamptons 5, the Golden State Warriors. Sunday, I got a chance to check out the Houston Rockets' new supergroup as James Harden and Chris Paul made their public debut at the Drew League. It was weird, new, curious, pick whatever adjective you want, to see two point guards playing in the same team, in the same backcourt, trying to figure out who goes what, where, and how long. Sometimes James Harden would take the ball up the court and slalom and Eurostep his way through the defense. Other times CP3 would grab the ball, organize the offense, and do very point guard-like things because, he's a point guard. And as of last year, so is James Harden. I watched the whole game, and I'm still not sure how this is all going to work. If they have chemistry, or even whose team this now is, James Harden or Chris Paul's. But I know they both want this to work and are planning to take a trip to the Bahamas with the whole team next month to keep working on it. So guys, I ask you veterans of covering super teams, or in Nick's case, the three alphas who kind of didn't work out. Can this crazy experiment work?
Well, how are we defining work here? Because I think they're going to win a lot of games. I think they're going to be entertaining and interesting to watch, but I don't think they're that much closer to Golden State at all.
Well, I think they're closer to Golden State than they were previously. I don't know
but how much?
If they're good enough, right, to beat Golden State. I would say absolutely not if I had to pick today. Though I do think they're potentially better than San Antonio, so there's a start there. And here's why I think it'll work, Ramona, between these two guys particularly. Chris Paul idolizes Steve Nash. Who was Steve Nash's coach?
Mike D'Antoni?
Correct. Who's the coach of the Houston Rockets?
Mike D'Antoni. Okay, I see how you connected those dots. That's very good. That's why we have you on the show.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, so I think that this will work because of that. Will they have moments where they're going to have to take turns, kind of like we saw yesterday at the Drew League or you saw yesterday? Yeah, but I think eventually they'll be able to mesh because Chris will have to evolve some, particularly more so than James.
But there was all these moments where Chris Paul was standing there going, James has the ball. What am I supposed to do? Just stand here and wait for him to pass to me? That's really awkward.
They're going to find their way. I was cracked up though, Ramona, because I get to LA and I'm looking down at Twitter and I see your video from the Drew League and I'm going, how many times have people in Houston and on the Rockets coaching staff sent that tweet around going, oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. This season's going to be a lot of fun with all these weapons around us.
Ramona, Chris has been a guy who's been, he's been a guy that people have said pounds the ball too much, right? He's going to have the most to deal with here because, as you said, he's going to be standing around. But Mike D'Antoni loves to say the ball finds energy. Well, the way the ball finds energy is guys move around. So, Chris Paul, start moving around.
So here's the weird thing, though. Last year, this was very unquestionably James Harden's team, and he's the guy who got paid all of that money. Chris is here on a one-year deal. He's there just this year.
Right.
So in terms of whose team it is, it's usually the guy getting paid, right? That's usually how this works in any industry. So it's James Harden's team, which means Chris is the guy standing around, right? He's the one who's like, okay, when is it my turn to catch the ball? When is it my turn to drive and organize the offense? And the rest of the time, he's going to be standing out there waiting for James to pass him the ball or move. It's a strange fit, but what I like about it is that they're trying. Right? The team they had last year was a great team, historically good offensive team. And instead of just bringing them back and trying again because it didn't work last, even though they were good, they couldn't beat the Spurs, and then they didn't even get a shot at the Warriors. So try something different.
I'm with you wholeheartedly. I think Daryl Morey did the right thing by trying to shake this thing up. With that said, I do think the question here is, can Chris Paul take on the D-Wade role? We just saw D-Wade a few moments ago at the Drew League, right? Now, Dwayne, that first season, struggled with that with LeBron in Miami. And then in year two, they also went to the Bahamas, and they decided
that seems to be the place.
Right, that's the place to make it all work, right? So they decided at that point, hey, it's got to be your way, LeBron. I'll play off the ball. And Dwayne learned to play off the ball and did it really well. Chris is going to have to adjust to do that some. James already knows how to do that.
You've got to figure that they've had this conversation, though. I don't think that Chris Paul comes into this situation going, hey, James,
They had the conversation in Chicago, too.
Right, well,
okay, last year with Rondo and Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler, they talked.
Yeah.
They wanted that to work. The three alphas, it's totally going to work. And that it really didn't.
But that was a disaster almost from the beginning. I mean, they didn't have the type of talent level in Chicago that they do now in Houston. I think those guys know full well if they want to win a title and they want to get to that level, they've got to find balance, and they got to find it early on. But it's easy to watch them play in the Drew League and get rolling and find that rhythm. But I think once the season starts, they'll get that camaraderie and they'll find that chemistry they need.
And no one was buying that those three guys were going to win in the Eastern Conference either. I don't think anybody was.
There was that one game where Dwayne made a bunch of threes and Gabby Union tweeted at him, and it was like, Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
That's about all we got.
And then we got regression to the mean.
And then reality hit. And they went,
Nick Friedel was standing outside covering it all. Poor guy. How do you still wear that scarf?